Hey, this is Brad Russell here with Mike Ingham at Wednesday at Thistle Midwinters down here in St. Pete. We had a great day after some delays on the water for no breeze. The sea breeze came in real nice and ended up being 10, gusting 16 or so, we think. Mike had a great day. He had a 2-2-2, and we had a tough first one followed by two solid races, but a ton of fun all around. So the topic for today is how to sail in a big breeze, especially a sea breeze, and we'll use a Thistle as an example for that. So what are your general tips on getting set up and fast when you're overpowered?
So in a Thistle in 12 plus knots, we're pretty much always overpowered. So we're looking for ways to get rid of power. We have no backstay. First thing you want to do if you do have a backstay is pull a backstay on, but we don't have one. So what we did is we made sure the outhaul was tight, the Cunningham was tight, dropped the traveler just a little bit so we can get a little bit of leech tension, put the vang on really hard, and then the main thing was just keeping it flat no matter what. And I think that's really hard to do. It's really tempting to let the boat heel up, and maybe we did that a little more than we wanted to today. But we were always thinking we should be really, really flat. And once we were flat, the centerboard works really well. And whatever it takes to do that. So if we got a flat spot, we might pinch a little. Most of the time, in the end, most of the time, it's just plain easing the main sheet. Once you've gone through any other de-powering tools you have, like the backstay or whatever, eventually you just have to ease the main sheet to keep going.
And what were you doing through the waves? We'd have periods where it was fairly flat, and then it would you'd seem to get a couple sets where they'd be pretty stiff and be a little tough to get through.
For sure, we were staking our boat around. If we got a flat spot, we'd trim it a little harder, and we keep the boat super flat in flat spots, and then we'd see a set of waves, and we'd try to head off before them. We'd try to bear off before the wave came, ease the main out so it could bear off. And the other thing we did then is we made sure we used the jib too. I think that's one of the things. I was talking to some of the competitors here, and I was asking what they said they were really felt bound up even if they used the main to be flat. And I asked them what they did with their jib, and they said, oh, they use it out just a tiny bit. And once they described how much, it wasn't nearly enough. It wasn't as much as we were. I think it's really important once you start using the main sheet to keep the boat flat and moving, you have to use the jib sheet too.
And so let's say, we didn't have big shifts today as a sea breeze, so the oscillations were pretty small. What would you do if, let's say, you're in the middle of the fleet on the first beat and you're trying to work your way back up strategy and tactics-wise with fleet management and just moving back up towards the top?
For sure, once the shifts are short enough, small enough, it's a little more important to get clear and keep the boat ripping than it is to be on the shift. If you have the luxury of playing a shift, you do, and the shifts are only 5 degrees, so it wasn't worth taking bad air or anything like that to take a shift. So for sure, I kept clear, and we looked toward the edges. If we saw pressure on one edge or the other, we might kind of head really far to that edge at the end for the last little bit. But mostly, just keeping clear and trying to keep the boat ripping is how you do it when the air is pretty steady and pretty big breeze. You got to go fast.
And then heading downwind, a few times it would seem like a lot of boats would stack up on the starboard ley line, but a jibe set would also look like a good idea. So what decisions were you making about what to do around the offset?
I think in lighter air, it's really important to be careful not to jibe too soon. You kind of end up in that little triangle of death, we call it, that whole starboard ley line and the offset. But when it's heavier air, you can, if you think that the long tack is port and you need to jibe, there's nothing wrong. You jibe and you get away from that fleet so fast, it's not that important. So I think we were just looking, our main plan downwind was to first see which, it was windy enough that the jibing angles were really narrow, so one tack or the other was almost always on ley line. So right before the weather mark, we'd decide which tack that was, which was the long tack, which was take us almost on ley line. And if in doubt, we'd extend a little just to be free, but if not, we weren't afraid to jibe right away to be on the marks.
All right, well that's it from Wednesday here at Midwinters. Great day of sailing with 3 races and looking like similar tomorrow with the late start. So thanks for watching.